You're sitting at a restaurant with your family 5 years from now, and you just want to order a nice plate of salmon. But you decide not to because a single plate of salmon costs you $200. How could this possibly happen, you might ask? Lack of marine biodiversity. The volume and abundance of marine life is critical for a healthy ocean. This is where marine biodiversity and the marine food web come into play. At the very bottom are autotrophs. Autotrophs are plants like algae and seaweed, stuff that grows and gets its energy from sunlight. Then there are the herbivores, or primary consumers. They get their energy by consuming that seaweed and algae. These are animals like krill and jellyfish. Next are the carnivores, or secondary consumers. They get their energy by eating the krill and the jellyfish. These are animals like sea turtles, octopus, or fish. Finally, there's the top predators, or the quaternary consumers. These are sharks, whales, and dolphins. There are 3 types of biodiversity: genetic biodiversity, species biodiversity, and ecological biodiversity. Genetic biodiversity is the differences in the DNA sequences unique to each individual organism. Like my dogs Jerry and Roxy. They're both Labrador retrievers, but they're different colors and different sizes. They're the same, yet genetically diverse, and that diversity makes them more likely to adapt to changes in their environment. There's species diversity. Each species has a different purpose to keep the ecosystem running smoothly. All those animals at the top of the food chain rely on everything below them in order to survive. Animals lower on the food chain rely on their predators to keep the populations healthy through natural selection. For the food chain to be strong, it needs both richness, which means a lot of species to choose from, and evenness. If one level becomes overpopulated or underpopulated, it throws the whole thing out of balance. Lastly, there's ecological diversity. This is the role that each species plays in its habitat to affect the overall health of the entire habitat. I want you to think of an ecosystem as a Jenga stack like the one we have here. As humans, when we do things that negatively impact marine biodiversity, it's like we're taking pieces out of this ecosystem. Things like overfishing impact those large primary and secondary predators. Other things like pollution and acidification can damage diversity much lower on the chain. 25 to 35% of these species are already gone, and before we know it, the whole ecosystem is gonna collapse.